Welcome back in to See Ball, Get Ball. We are here every week, and we're about to crank it up, by the way. Starting next week with football being in action, you'll see more of us. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but Brent Rollins will be here like always. Writes for PFF. He's on 3 now as well, but always has the numbers, always watches the game like a coach. Coach with Brent. He's my neighbor. Been with him for a long time. Knows football as well as anybody. Brent, we got some real football. We got some more quarterback announcements. The favorite part of the show is going to be Scott Van Pelt. Like, I just think that we've seen him for so many years. He's such a genuine stud of a dude. I'm interested, honestly, just to see how he got his start. That's really what I want to ask him at some point in the interview, which will be cool. But BYU names a starting quarterback. Notre Dame. What else you got?
Before we do that, like, there's this shiny thing behind you.
You talk about my glow, my effervescence? It's just me. No.
You glow. You do have a certain glow about you.
Appreciate that.
That's probably from lack of hygiene, but who knows?
That's true, actually.
A different one that I'm talking about.
Man, new sign, new graphics, new layout. Like, hey, listen, at See Ball, Get Ball, we're trying to upgrade every chance we can, and this season's going to be a big one for us, man. But Wednesdays are going to be guest days, but we're going to be here Monday. We're going to be here Wednesday. We're going to be here Thursday with picks. Saturday we'll be live recapping. So a lot of things that are new and shiny. And hey, if you don't like it, you can tell us. That's great. We won't change it, but we appreciate your thoughts.
Yeah, probably even maybe a little shinier than my head. But anyway, BYU starting quarterback. By the way, Bear Bachmeier, first true freshman to start at BYU.
Bachmeier.
But the beautiful part is, and I don't know that you saw this. Did you see what number he's wearing?
Do not tell me that man's wearing 47.
Bear Bachmeier, who will wear number 47. He is your spirit animal. BYU
he's my favorite. He's my favorite player in college football now. Bear Bachmeier rocking 47 at BYU at the quarterback spot. Like, I don't know what his EA Sports ranking is in the game. It should be immediately elevated to a high level. Bear is going to be a national treasure, and I guarantee you we're going to hear from that man a lot on See Ball, Get Ball. I flipping love that.
It doesn't get any better than that. I mean, just
that's
the
amazing.
Beauty of 47 at QB is still like, even you think back to Flutie, he wore 22, I think. Some of those that sort of off the wall QB numbers, but 47 I have never
so
seen.
Great. And then CJ Carr at Notre Dame, he was highly recruited. He's a redshirt freshman. More of the passing guy. Kenny Minchie was the guy that was a little bit more of a dual threat. I think with Notre Dame, that's good. That's great, Brent. We're going to see multiple guys. I think. Yeah. I think you're going to see. I think you're going to see both of them. I'm interested to see how this goes regardless, because Notre Dame, very experienced, got a bunch of good guys. We know their offensive line is going to be good. The quarterback's going to decide the season, and they don't have time to break them in right away and go, yeah, you're going to be great. You got to be great game 1. You play Miami. Game 3, you play A&M. Like, they've got to come out the gates, solid. So I think we'll see both of these guys. I really do.
And we talked about how talented they are, so it's about almost don't be a minus. Don't be somebody that hurts your team. Make the plays when you have to. Make the plays that are there, that kind of thing. The other interesting thing I thought about Notre Dame that I don't know if you saw, probably not. So Tyler Horka that covers the team highlighted they're wearing a shirt underneath the pads, and I saw where it has SAS written on the shirt, and it stands for "Still Ain't Chist," in your words, but like. They want to do more than just play for the national championship, and that's one that I thought was an interesting mantra. SAS.
I freaking love that. Like,
look at that on the sleeve.
Hey, here's a gentle reminder. You ain't done shiznick. Like, get your ace back to work. You didn't win nothing. I love that, and that's why you like Marcus Freeman, right? Like, that's why Marcus Freeman's probably going to continue to elevate Notre Dame back where they want to be. Because here's the thing about Notre Dame this year. This is a prove-it year for Notre Dame and for everybody around the country. One year we've seen Notre Dame get to a championship before. We've seen that. But can they do the reload thing that the big powerhouses in the sport do every single year? Notre Dame's got a chance to prove that to everybody and be like, all right, you shut up, you shut up, you shut up. So that's good. Like, I can change that too. We can I love the verbiage though. I like that from Marcus Freeman.
And then we actually have a game this week. It kicks off at noon. By the way, you remember where it's kicking off, right?
Dublin, Ireland. Yeah.
Yes. I looked at the weather just because I was curious, because I want to say, wasn't it kind of a misty, ugly with Georgia Tech and Florida State?
Yes, but
last
the
year?
grass was so green. It was amazing. It was an amazing watch. But
So high in the mid 60s, low percent chance of rain. So you're going to probably get quality football, I think, because of, or help the quality of the football.
So I just curious. Just curious, like, where does your mind go that you think, I just want to look up the weather? Like, I'm curious about the weather in this football game. Like, how did we get there? Just, because give the people some insight.
It's usually not great. Like, especially this time of year, I think it's.
Have you been to Dublin, Ireland much?
No, but I've just seen that, and people have told you, and hey, if you want to go visit it and that kind of thing, it's a whole different animal in terms of, and location, by the way, just the sheer geography of it. And I was just curious, hey, because we got two really good quarterbacks that are going against each other. I want to see that.
I just want y'all to realize how lucky you are at See-Ball, Get Ball to have Brent Rollins, because the dissecting of the numbers and the analytical brain. Brent's a coach. Like, Brent knows football and thinks about things. Like, I've coached with him all growing up, and I'm just telling you, the brain is amazing. But what about the game? To me, this game really matters. And Iowa State, obviously, to me, they're rebuilding a little bit more than Kansas State. And Kansas State, they have the chance to really step on the stage and do something. Like, I think Avery Johnson popped on the stage in the Pop-Tart Bowl, I believe it was 2 years ago. And you were like, dang, that white boy can roll. Like, you're like, he can fly, right? Like,
yes.
You thought he had a chance to be really special. Last year, it was like, he's okay. Like, a little bit hit or miss. Not saying his weapons were the greatest, but, like, if he takes that next step, Brent, and I want to see it out the gates, week one, if he can take that next step and become more consistent as a passer with what they are in the run game, with what they are in not beating themselves, Kansas State immediately says, okay, if you don't think we're a player in the Big 12, you're wrong. Like, they could be a team that could make a statement week 0.
And I actually went back and watched the game that they played, because it was towards the end of the season last year, really cold, and Kansas State had Brent Cantori as Wes, with the bald head like that. There we go, like the Weather Channel guy. Thought that was good. But 2 early turnovers by Kansas State, including the first play of the game which would have been a huge play on an option. But I think the point that you made about Avery Johnson was watching that game. If he plays consistently, and we had talked earlier about he had the highest drop percentage in the Power 4.
Yeah.
If they play consistently at receiver, which both teams, by the way, are breaking in kind of new receivers, both list their depth chart as kind of or for the receiver, whoever's going to be a receiver. But if he plays consistently, the talent is a top 5 in college football talented. Like, some of the throws even he made in that game were just next level NFL throws, the athleticism to it, some of the rushing stats.
And then there's some throws and then there's some of the throws you go, what the heck was that? Like, exactly. And so can we find a happy median? A lot of times that happens through experience. That happens through reps. Like, last year, first time as a full-time starter, like, you'll start to see the feel comes to you and when to take something off a pass, when to put something on, like when to just take off and be you and just run. Yeah. So I'm agreeing, man. Like, to me, that number, that completion percentage number, I think it was like 59 a year ago, Brent, something right around there. If it gets to 63, if it gets to 65, like, Kansas State's going to show everybody like they've got a great chance to be a player in the Big 12. So it starts and ends with him. The running game's going to be good. They're going to be tough. Defensively, they're going to make you earn it. Like, that's just who they are, what they are. They're not going to beat themselves, but a chance to really showcase. And here's the thing. You got a 12 o'clock window too, Brent. Everybody's excited about football. Starts the season off. Everybody's going to be watching. Everybody gets a glimpse in a moment to kind of peer into the Big 12, a big stage. I think that's a great thing for them.
And we talked about this on Monday. Like, this is a humongous game for the conference, because it's not like Iowa State just did nothing last year. Double-digit wins. Like, I want to say it was the most that they've ever had.
Yes, and played for the championship. Yeah,
and played for
Everybody
the championship. Their quarterback is coming back, and it's just which team with new receivers starts off this game sort of early and plays well with either timing, rhythm, or the QB elevates the new group. However that goes, I think will determine who wins the game. But
all right, and before we get to Scott Van Pelt, which is going to be amazing for everybody, but Auburn, Just going to touch on Auburn real quick. Obviously, big year ahead. Can't wait to talk about Baylor, next week in that preview. I think it'll be great. But I think there's just they're up to 9 national championships really quickly. Like I think it's 9. I think that we claimed a few more natties real quick. Does that bother you? How do you feel about that? And Auburn do it. Does it make you feel any kind of way?
I could care less, honestly.
Is it could care less or couldn't care less?
Either way it is.
I mean, if you could care less, then you could care
I don't
less.
care one bit.
So you couldn't care less.
There you go. However it is that I should say that.
Yes.
To not really for it to mean nothing to me.
Tomato, no big deal.
It's just fun fan banter. It's fun. It's whatever. I will say, like the fact that they didn't get to play for the championship in what was it, 2004 when they had Cadillac Williams and Ronnie Brown. That's just
they beat the crap out of us.
That's a bad sort of mark on the game. But outside of that, whatever.
I always find it interesting. Like some people just like go nuclear and blow things up and think they like nobody cares about that. Like nobody cares about any of those teams. Nobody cares about claiming anything back in that day. Now listen, when UCF did it, everybody was pissed. Like that was a different animal. Like they did it like fresh off of the season. Like this is so long ago. You can't even name names on the teams back in the day that they're trying to claim national championships on. So I don't care. Another interesting note about Auburn, could possibly see, multiple quarterbacks. And listen, there's been talk too about so some of the things that have and listen, I feel like everything Auburn does right now is probably looked at in a negative light. It's just like they're not getting positive attention, and the way they've played the last 5 years, they've probably earned some of that. But the coordinator thing where they're going to have different coordinators, and they might have different coordinators at different times, and kind of being an advantage, kind of playing multiple quarterbacks, like. Interesting non-story to me. It's absolutely a non-story. You've had run game coordinators in the past. You've had short yardage guys in the past. You've had all that stuff. That's not anything that's groundbreaking. If it wasn't at Auburn, it'd probably be no big deal.
Well, and even at some of the bigger programs, including all these SEC programs, including the one in our backyard, certain people were responsible for certain things. Hey, and it's obviously the ultimate offensive coordinator, whoever play caller is, but hey, this person is a red zone person, in between the 20s, that's their 100%. World, or third and long, that's their world. And they're always sort of things like that. But I will say it's fun that Lane Kiffin enjoys, like he might not be a podium king, but he's definitely the X king.
He's the best,
terms of
dude.
usage of
like,
that.
I just
have fun with that.
Well, and so many coaches are so uptight and they won't do that and don't want to ruffle feathers. And Lane's just like, boom, like chew on that. He'll throw a bomb in there. He'll give your opinion. I think it's fantastic. And listen, next we got somebody you're going to enjoy. You're going to love this cat. Known him for a long time. What you see is what you get. Made a name for himself. I don't even need to say his name. All I got to do is say initials. That's kind of when you've like arrived. Like when you say SVP, you know exactly who that is. And he's going to join us here next. All right. Well, our next guest, everybody knows who he is. Scott Van Pelt. We got a lot going on. SVP Pod. Obviously, he's got his own sports center that he runs. But like, we got new graphics, man. We got new layout. We got new sign. We got a lot going on here that we're trying to manage right now. So,
is this all for me? This is all this whole new. I was happy to come on when it was just the regular fare. No, I'm excited to be here, man. It's great to catch back up.
Well, it's good. It's good to see you, and I'm sure you and Stanford Steve dropping your first pod of the season or getting ready for the season pod, like kicking it off. Like, what were the big topics, man? What are the things that you're looking for with this college football season?
Probably, I think, similar to some of the stuff that you've been covering that I've been paying attention to here these last couple of weeks. Just how wide open it feels. So often, I feel like we enter a year where you have incumbents at quarterback, right? That's the main thing. It's a guy you've seen him, maybe they've been close, can they get over the hump or whatever else? And there's just familiarity. But I just look around at so many of these places where it's like, all right, who's the guy? All right, Arch is the guy in Texas, but that's got its own little oddities I'll get to in a minute. But like, all right, who's the guy for Ohio State? All right, it's saying, are we going to make a decision at Notre Dame? They're figuring that one out. The fact that places like Clemson's got Klubnik, Penn State's got Aller. The places that have guys we've seen do it that were in the playoff a year ago, I just feel like there's more of a peace of mind, and at least we've seen it. And the thing through the years we've learned, David, is just because you got 5 stars next to your name and you're supposed to be a guy, are you going to be when it's time to be? And there's no guarantee. Steve and I got to laughing about, and this is embarrassing, I'm an old man playing video games. But man, we just won the chip recently, and my quarterback was a 5-star who was at USC 2 years ago. Then he went to Boise State. Now he's at UTEP. Malachi Nelson was my quarterback for Maryland via the portal, and we won the chip. And like that's the example to me of you might be, but maybe for whatever reason, it just doesn't happen. And so I think for so many highly regarded players, maybe you are Caleb Williams and you live up to it. And I'm not trying to be mean to Uiagalelei, but people just thought he was going to be Trevor Lawrence. Well, that wasn't fair to Trevor or him. And so, he ends up going to Oregon State and then Florida State. My point is simply, you don't know until you know, until it puts 60 on the clock and we play Texas, plays Ohio State. We're going to find out a lot about both of them just starting right there. So Steve's diving in, doing the research, as you know. He highlights and then he writes it on cards and then he's trying to make sense of all his notes. And you've lived it, David, obviously out there on the life doing the travel and being part of what that whole thing's about. But it's just the excitement, I think, David, trying to capture the feeling we have this time of year when we got a little ball this weekend, You got Kansas State and Iowa State. That's exciting, cool, let's go. But then next week it starts getting real. And before you know it, it'll be the fall and we'll start getting some clarity. But now it's just that feeling of excitement, and there's nothing like what it feels like right now.
It's so awesome. And Brent, I'm going to let you ask this next question. But hey, Scott, do you I understand that the new faces, the new places, but do you feel like Bama, Ohio State, Georgia, some of those places that it's been like, okay, it's a new guy every year or it's a new guy at quarterback, but I'm like, I kind of trust it. Do you have those trust in certain programs that are filling in those voids that might be, that might be the first time this guy's playing, but we know typically Ohio State outside the McCord year, it's kind of plug and play and it's elite.
For sure. And I think that's a credit to Ryan Day. I always liked Ryan more than his own fans did, but then, as I was lucky enough to say to him in Atlanta, I said, what's cooler than gold pants? A gold trophy, Okay, I get that y'all want to beat Michigan, but you beat the brakes off Tennessee and Oregon and then Texas and then Notre Dame. Like, all right, you get to hang a banner and you feel pretty good about yourself. I've always believed in Day. I get that the Michigan game's important, but yes, I trust him. Kirby Smart, I absolutely trust. The guys put pro after pro in the league, and they've recruited at an incredibly elite level, and their schedule's not as tough as some others in the SEC. They've got a couple of, you're always going to have some heavyweight matches. I trust those two. The Bama thing, it's not that I don't like DeBoer. I do. It's just, man, following those footsteps that Nick left in the ground, man, It's hard. It's hard. So sure, I trust Bama. It's just the level of expectation that exists in T-Town. It's not singular because Ohio State certainly isn't the same kind of thing, but it's a lot to live up to. And I'm just interested to see, do you start to settle in more? I mean, you've got to figure some things out. Like obviously Milroe moves on, but yes, I trust them. But I guess I just trust in Day and Smart more because they've won titles where they've been and they've earned that. Does that make sense?
Fair.
So the other part of the opening week, I think everybody kind of feels like Texas, Ohio State, like the loser is just fine. They're going to be A-okay. But LSU Clemson at night, what are you most looking forward to about that game? And from a storyline perspective, like, Davies all in this year. That's his championship pick. Like, do you feel differently about either team based upon the outcome of that game?
I need to see what it is that night. Think about how LSU's lost some of these games, right?
Oh.
Were they better than USC last year? They didn't win, but they felt like they maybe shoulda, coulda. The Florida State game a couple years ago was in Orlando, wasn't it? And it was like they're trading punches early, and then, they end up on the wrong end of that one. If it's if they go in and it's a hotly contested game that they lose, right, and nothing egregious happens, and you take the L, you go home. It's not eliminating. It's not disqualifying. I feel like it'd be far more significant if LSU did it, A, because it's on the road, and B, their schedule's a hell of a lot harder than Clemson's is the rest of the way, right? You don't have to dodge nearly as much live ammo in Clemson. But that is a team, fellas, that Stanford Steve and I all summer long have been talking about. Man, go back and look at what they did down there in Austin in that game. Like, they're in the mix. And, all right, they end up, the scores, it's a two-score game in the end. But I think you can lose but learn, or lose but win. I don't know, it sounds like a bad cliche, but I felt like the buy-in they've done within their program in this NIL era, where they've invested within their guys, retain their guys, build from within. There's value in that, man. There's value in that, and I respect it. LSU, on the other hand, went out and said, we got am I allowed to cuss? Excuse me. We got a heck of a lot of money, and we're going to go out and we're going to get us some guys. And so the game's incredible. I don't know if I'm answering the question so much as what I think is that it's not a disqualifying L for either team. I think it would be a check in the bank that might be more valuable for LSU down the road than it would be for Clemson, because Clemson, I really think they're going to be excellent. But I've been reading a ton about LSU. They believe in their D, and they're a team that has an incumbent at quarterback that's gonna give them a chance every game. So I'm just like everybody. I just can't wait to see it and try not to overreact, which I know we'll all do a great job of.
Oh, of course. And LSU, they haven't won an opening game since Joe Burrow was there. I mean, that's how long it's been, Scott. Like,
it's crazy.
It's incredible to think like they've been. And then listen, they lost to Mississippi State. They lost to LSU with Chip Kelly there. Florida State twice. Like, but it's just puzzling because they've been so good. And Brian Kelly, obviously, in an interesting spot. But what about you and Steve? Y'all are going to do the winners every week, and you're going to pick the winners. And I can't. By the way, everybody in the country, everybody in the world is ready for Bad Beats to come back too, because it's a fun segment. I want to hear pitchy pitchy woo woo. I want to hear all that stuff. By the way, I yell that, Scott, at every flag football game my daughter plays. Every time they pitch it, I scream at the top of my lungs, pitchy pitchy woo woo, every single time.
David, how about this? The other day, the NFL, on Twitter, X, I still call it Twitter. I'm too old to change my mind on that. But the NFL account tweeted out that a preseason game, it ended with a little pitchy pitchy woo woo, and I'm like, say what now? Like, come again? Scott Hansen, my buddy that does the Red Zone, and he'll always acknowledge and footnote, like, a little, as Scott Van Pelt would say, pitchy pitchy woo woo. The backstory on that, fellas, is just, and it is gambling related, is that, like, all right, and you guys just had the bear on, so I mean, the gambling space has just become sort of much more front porch now than it used to be, but it's always been going on, kind of like NIL, like you said, David. Now it's legal. Well, that's gambling. Now NIL gambling. So I've always paid attention to it. And back in the day, like, if you had the underdog, right? Let's say you had somebody getting 6 and they're down 4 late. Field goal's not going to do it. So they got to start pitching the ball all over the place. And one of the all-time most famous inventors of pitchy pitchy woo woo was Northwestern against Ohio State years ago in Evanston.
Yes.
And the Bad Beats montage has the play, and you hear Brent Musburger say, some people are celebrating and some people are saying, what just happened? Well, if you had Northwestern, I did, and you were getting the points, you lost on that play because they just start yelling pitchy pitchy and someone's yelling woo 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 woo. So that's the origin story of pitchy pitchy woo woo. And then I just started saying it on the show because I'm an idiot. And now it's like, I feel like if you're yelling it at your flag games
100%.
and the NFL's official sort of account is tweeting it out, I feel like it's made it into the lexicon of the world, which is just hysterical to me because it started in kind of a sort of a dark corner of the world in the seedy recesses of gambling and just trying to avoid some catastrophic ending to a game where you might have had $1 or $2 on the line.
Well, I think you put it in the dictionary, so that's fine. All we got to do is get it in the dictionary, and then obviously it's a real world. It's a real word, and we're good.
People use it. People use
it. You're good.
Yeah.
And Trent Dilfer came on not too long ago, and he told us this. He said he was with Mark Schlereth when he started to learn and started to break into his career and stuff. And he's like, first time you say something about somebody, you credit it. The next time moving forward, it's yours. Like, it doesn't matter. He said, one time I credit. I'm not crediting every time I use the word.
The good thing about how idiotic the term is I think that the origin of it is fairly well known, but as it becomes like more and more prevalent, I'm going to lose ownership of it. I will tell you a funny story. The OC last year at Ohio State, they won a chip. It was Chip Kelly, and Chip's a friend, and I would just send him texts joking around, but I was serious. I'm like, hey, I got an idea. Throw the ball to 4. How about I gotta play when push comes to shove, maybe you throw it to 4. What'd they do at the end of that game against Notre Dame when they need to put it on ice and get a first down? They threw it to 4. And afterwards I was like, tried to tell you. The reason I bring up Chip is that when he's out with the Raiders now as their OC, and we've joked about it throughout preseason, but he's like, it's pitchy woo woo Wednesday. We're running our version of what it is. And I was like, not for nothing. You look at Travis Kelce, if you've got a tight end that you trust, it's got, great hands, obviously, and you trust his decision-making, you get a tight end out in space with his back turned, you get a wide receiver or a running back coming one way or another, you've got a corner or a safety in space. Pitching the ball is a winning play. And he's like, no, you're right. So it's just funny to me to have an idiotic saying that maybe has some merit in terms of a play that you could use. And if the Raiders ever use it, it's like my brain's going to melt in my head because it'll be like, that was me. I told Chip to pitch the ball all over the field. So we'll see what the Raiders do this fall.
Well, Davey, you would love it that Scott does a great job of keeping the fans up to date on the flag football with his son. Like, we always talk the Raiders and the various team names and all the stuff. That's fabulous. But you mentioned one thing. Winning the chip with the Terps on college football on the college football game.
Yeah.
Which, Dave, you need to go back and listen. Scott told a fantastic story on his pod.
This is Red, by the way. Sorry, my dog Red's joined the chat.
Awesome. Yeah, get in there, Red.
Here's Big Red. Sorry.
There we go.
This is his way of telling me to go. Go ahead. Back to the chip. Go ahead.
But you told a great story about sort of getting caught playing the video game, but which was fantastic. But let's get to the Terps part. You're repping the Terps there already. Maryland football, like where does it go? Where do you see it going? Can it get to, it's been 3 10-win seasons in the last 30 years, and they were all in a row there with Friesian. So
thanks, Brent. That was really nice. That was good.
No, I mean, look, I know what it is, and it's a how do I put it? It's just a really rough block of a neighborhood to live on. And at least it changed when the when the Big Ten added Oregon, Washington, USC, and UCLA. But when you're on the east side of the Big Ten and you got Ohio State, Penn State, and Michigan every year, like, buddy, you're in the deep end of the pool, which is like, and the SEC has grown as well. When it was the SEC West, if you were Mississippi State, Arkansas, you're over there and you're like, my gosh, this, like, it's every other year. It's Bama or LSU or it's both. And I mean, it's hard to kind of exist in that world. And so Locks had a 3-year run where they won enough games to go to bowl games, which they won. And Maryland's one of the very few, I think, football programs where if you tell fans now you win enough to go to a bowl and you win a bowl game, is that enough? And fans go, yeah, that'd be pretty cool. The hard part has been and I got to be real about it. Like, Maryland would love to beat Penn State, but the numbers are the numbers. I mean, Penn State has dominated that so ridiculously that it's almost hard to believe the numbers, because there have been years where games would be close and you'd lose, and then they've gotten beaten badly quite a bit as well. So in order for it to be a rivalry, you got to be able to beat a team and take something from them that matters. You got to win games that matter to them too. And so doing that against Ohio State, they've been close but not quite. They've been close, actually, in a couple games against Michigan in recent years. I actually played in the year they won the title to like a touchdown game, which it's not a moral victory, but it's not like you got your butt kicked either. It's just been difficult because it's the deepest end of the pool to battle with these teams. And now you add Oregon, you add SC, and UCLA went out, and obviously they've improved with getting a high-profile quarterback. What I'm saying is it's difficult to think you're going to ascend to a place when you've got that many heavyweights that live in your orbit. All of that said, Locks is able to recruit around here because he's got incredible grassroots connections, and he's a guy who's got real cachet and resonates with the people that matter around here. They got a top 25 class off a 4-8 year. There's a young man named Malik Washington who's a quarterback who I believe will be the guy. Hasn't been named yet, but they're young, and so you're just trying to land enough punches to win enough games to be ascending because they do have young talent. Can you keep it? That's the hard part in this landscape, man. They got poached last year in the spring here's a great example of what college football is now. There's a young man that they liked a lot on the defensive line. He was going to go in the portal in the winter. Well, they managed to talk him off the ledge. But all that did was establish what the baseline of the price was. So guess what? Come spring, knock on the door. Well, he's in Texas now. What are you going to do about that? Like, how do you battle that? I don't really know. Because if Texas decides they want to come knock on the door and take a guy that probably for them is a depth piece, but would have been a starter for Maryland, there's just not a whole hell of a lot you can do. And that's its own conversation about this sport that we all love that really desperately needs some rules and some guardrails. But it's just hard when you're battling heavyweights and then you're also a place that doesn't have as deep a pocket, certainly as the folks in Austin. So if they just decide, oh, that guy looks like he might be able to help us, we want him. They're going to come take him. So I'm optimistic because I always am. There's a lot of young talent. I'll be pulling for them because I always do. And I just, I hope they win enough games to be to crash a bowl. I mean, the Vegas over-under is only 4.5. So if they do that, they will have exceeded expectation.
'Tis the season to hope, which is great.
Always,
Everybody's
man.
got hope. Everybody's got hope coming in the year.
Right now, everybody does.
It's what's a lot of fun. All right, man, you talk about grassroots and you talk about Locks. Like, I'm very curious because I love when we have people on our show, and it's the people know, obviously, but like Scott Van Pelt, SVP, everybody knows that. Like, how did that start, man? Like, when did you know you wanted to do this? And I know you're a sports fanatic, but like, I mean, what did you dream about, and how did you get to where you're at, man? Because obviously there's a gazillion guys in the world that were like, I'll switch lives with him right now. Like, I don't care who his dog is. I don't care I just want his life because if he gets to cover sports. Yeah. So I'd love to know your story a little bit.
Well, I thought when I was little, I thought I was going to be you, David. I thought I'd be the guy out there that somebody was talking about. How about this? My little guy the other night, and I got married late. So I didn't get married till I'm in my 40s. So I'm an old guy with little kids. My little guy's going to bed the other night. He's 8, and he told me, Dad, he said, I just want to tell you, I'm probably going to skip college and go right to the NBA like Kobe. Like, oh, yeah. I said, yeah. He goes, and he was, fellas, I'm talking serious heart attack. He's like, yeah, I'm just going to go right to the NBA. I was like, all right, buddy. Well, we'll get ready for that.
Okay. You didn't kill it, right? You didn't kill that dream, right? Okay, thank you.
You're a parent. Plant that seed and water it.
Dang right, brother. You can do anything you want to do in this world, brother.
That's right, because the world's hard enough. The dads and moms are the ones that should be the sun and the water that are going to make that seed grow. Like the world's going to stomp it down. I'm not gonna, but I'm just taking it all in. So just for future reference, Charlie Van Pelt, he's coming to the league in whenever. I thought I was that guy. Well, pretty rapidly it lands that, all right, I'm a good athlete, but I'm not a great athlete. And I was not the guy, David. I have friends like Mike Tirico, who goes to Syracuse, which is the best broadcast school there is in the country. They produce one after another, the best broadcasters. I wasn't that guy or gal. I wasn't the person that went to the games and did the play-by-play. I was just a guy that was like kind of a good time Charlie in college. I wish I had a better story. I wish I was the guy that, knuckled down and like worked hard at it. I didn't. I didn't even get into the journalism school at Maryland. They love to claim me now. And I was honored to be asked to give the commencement address to the journalism school. And I said, look, you're taking advice today from a guy that couldn't get into the school you graduated from. But I just got incredibly lucky many years ago after I interned at a local television station that a guy from there went down to the Golf Channel and was part of the group that started this. This is 30 years ago. And I went down there because I wasn't really thriving in the DC space, finding my next thing, right? I was not, there you go. Now that's, all right, so that's me. That's a lovely mustard-colored shirt. That looks like 99 PGA Championship at Medina. By then, I'd gotten on the air because what happened is I met Tiger Woods in 95 when he's a freshman. And I've told this story or some version of it many times. I'm happy to share it here. My father, who I lost back when I was in college, he had a great line: you treat normal people like superstars and treat superstars like normal people. And so when I met Tiger, I just talked to him the same way I talked to you, and I was always honest with him, and we developed a trust, and that trust led to him giving me access to interviews that he didn't give other people. And after he won the Masters in 97, where he became the youngest winner and the lowest score and all that stuff, I did an interview with him that was only supposed to go 5 minutes, and we talked for 45 minutes about, it was just a fascinating, he was immersed in remembering the moments. And he shared that story, and no one else got that version of the interview. CBS didn't, ESPN didn't, but it put me on their radar. And I never dreamt, David, of this, any of it. I've always been, and I remain, like, there's me and T. Woods. I can remember exactly where that is. That's 95, 97, I beg your pardon. That's in Las Colinas after he won the Byron Nelson. God, that's fun. Isn't it wild how your brain remembers exactly?
It's like 3rd and 13. You remember where you're at in certain plays, all that stuff.
I mean, that's me and him talking after he won. Now that he had won the Masters in April and he won that tournament, the Byron in May, and that's the one-on-one that like no one else gets. But he was kind enough to give me that kind of access that put me in a different kind of how do I put it? I think it just made others in the industry take notice.
Yeah. And
ESPN hired me, and I remain the same guy now, just a lot less hair. I remain grateful for what it is I get to do. I enjoy it. How can you not have fun sitting here chopping it up, talking college ball with Stanford Steve or with you two, or watching games, right? I'm on the floor in Oklahoma City with the Thunder after they win the title, and you get to have conversations with human beings in the moments of high achievement. And it's the most incredible thing. It's just such a blessing to be the one to try to learn from them what it is they're feeling, how it is they got to that moment. And all these years later, like at some point it's going to run out where you're like, I've probably done this enough. But that hadn't happened. Because like right now, I'm as excited as I've ever been for the start of the season because that's what I get to do. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm rambling now, but it's just I've been an incredibly blessed guy that knows it. My grandma's line was, you stay grateful and you'll stay blessed. So I try to wake up with that idea and be grateful for what it is I do. And the minute that I'm not, and the minute that I'm like, I don't feel like, or I've done, then it's somebody needs to tap me and say, coach wants to see you bring your playbook. But until that point, I'm going to try to keep running ball plays and having fun, man, because how could you not?
And I think that's a lesson for all of us. And Brent, I'll let you ask whatever you want to ask. But like, you're nice to people. You do the right thing. And I think what people see with you, Scott, what I've always seen with you for all these years is you are who you are unapologetically. There is so many people that I've worked with. I swear to goodness, I was like, holy cow. Like what they transformed into on air and what they were off, it did not match. Like, and I think everybody feels like, dude, they could welcome you in their living room because you are who you are. You always are unapologetically.
I appreciate that, but I've always felt that if you just are who you are, then you don't have to put on some costume to go be on television, right? Now, I mean, I wear a suit, you know what I mean? But like, I talk the exact same on TV, and I talk the exact same to Shea Gilgeous-Alexander as I do to you, or as I do to the guy that comes to, refrigerator
drops off a
work.
package. Yeah.
Right. Just be decent to humans. It's not that complicated, man. But I'm with you. And you see that person that suddenly becomes more interesting or charming or some other thing when the red light goes on. You're like, man, I just real talk. I always feel badly for that person because I think, man, I'd hate to have to remember my lines when I woke up every day.
It's exhausting.
Except for on Twitter sometimes when you got to clap back and have some fun with people.
Oh, I'll do that now.
Like I saw the great one.
Hey,
that you're back next week.
Hey, don't poke the bear, man. Like, look, if you want to at me on Twitter and let me know that you think I stink, that's fine. Like, it's okay. Because you know what? And you've lived this, David. Like, that's not how it goes in the world. If someone comes up, they say, hey, love your show. Can I take a picture? I'm happy to. It's nice to meet you. Like, I'm a mirror. You get what you give. I reflect whatever it is you are. So if you want to come bother me, I was just sitting here minding my own business. You want to come talk junk to me and bother me? I mostly let it ride. But every now and then I'll be like, oh, here's that attention you wanted. Now here we are. Oh, so you weren't banking on this. Now what? You know, I mean, and it ain't that serious. Because if I saw you in person, I'd shake your hand and say, man, I hope you have a great day, because I'm gonna.
Well, it was actually a lot of nostalgia this week with Rich Eisen coming back to SportsCenter.
Yeah.
And the old sort of SportsCenter theme and the graphics and all that sort of stuff. It got me down a rabbit hole, and I wanted to ask you the most fun you had on a This Is SportsCenter commercial, because I could sit and watch those all day, every day. Like Scott Van Melt, like the one with the agent, Boston 3 Party, like with KG and Ray Allen Pierce. Yeah. What was the most fun you had doing those?
All right. Gosh, the one with LeBron in the chair was funny in retrospect.
That came to mind right away too.
How cool is this? Like, well, it's not actually not cool. It's like how it's funny. After that was done, they gave me like a plaque at some point, because I was in more of them than any other person. Because like they realized early on, oh, this guy's an idiot. He'll do anything, and I was willing to make fun of myself and also, I mean, I don't know. I kind of, my timing and whatever else, I would always ad lib stuff, and they liked working with me. I liked working with them, and it was an honor to do it. But I was friendly with the production folks. So after we got done doing that, I reached out to the director, and I was like, hey, where's that chair? Because I just thought it would be the coolest thing to have that King James like throne and just put it in your basement or something. And they're like, oh yeah, that was a prop, and you know they destroyed it. And I'm like, no, they didn't. Somebody's got that. Someone's got that King James chair in his or her house somewhere, and they lied to me because that was just the coolest thing. And the gist of that was, did I take his chair? And it was a literal throne. I would say that of all of them, the one that I think of the most often is the one that Stuart Scott and I did with Arnold Palmer. And if Arnold Palmer, of course, invented a drink, the Arnold Palmer. And so the ad is 15 seconds long. And all it is me and Stuart standing in the cafeteria behind Arnold Palmer and his caddy, and Arnold, little iced tea, little lemonade, little iced tea, and he walks off. And I'm standing there and I'm looking and I say, that was awesome. And Stuart goes, I know. That's it, a 15-second spot. But the backstory behind it is incredible, because I worked for the Golf Channel, which was started by a businessman. There it is. It's a businessman named Joe Gibbs, not the football coach, but a businessman from Birmingham, Alabama named Joe Gibbs, to whom I owe so much, and Mr. Palmer. Now, I call him that because that's what everyone calls Arnold Palmer. I knew him. We worked together. We had done plenty of things, but when he came in that morning to do that ad, I walked up and did what I do every time. I said, Mr. Palmer, Scott Van Pelt. Now, I'm quoting the king, and forgive my language, you can beat me if you like, but I said, Mr. Palmer, Scott Van Pelt. And Arnold looks at me as only the king could and goes, no shit, I knew you when you had hair. And now I'm standing here, and everybody's laughing at me because Arnold Palmer just busted my chops. But I said, look, Arnold, I can just never convince myself that you would know who I am, because you're you and I'm me. And so we have that moment, and then we go and shoot the ad. And the ad, again, it's a 15-second spot. And our director, his name's David Shane, brilliant director. But he had a very specific vision of how he wanted it to look. And so we shot it, and then we shot it again, and we've shot it however many times. And I see Arnold, and he's like, I shot movies that didn't take this long. And I walk over to our director, and I'm like, he's like, is he upset? I'm like, probably probably could speed it up here. And he's like, so now he was never going to make. He was there to do he wasn't going to. He said it under his breath, and I just happened to hear it. I related to our director, and I guess maybe we did one more take, and that would be the end of it. But I love the backstory as it relates to the fact that it ties into my Golf Channel days. I love the fact that Mr. Palmer gave me the needle, and sadly, both Stewart and Arnold are no longer with us. But that's a memory that is something that I'll cherish forever.
So many great memories. What is the we asked Bear like a few locks of the season. So a few of your winners, a few things you think will happen or that you're expecting to happen through this college football season.
I'm long on Clemson. I'm just telling you, you're in on them too, huh?
Yeah, all in.
Well, that's their saying in Clemson. Well, they have that little chip, right? You're supposed to put
the chip in, baby. I'm all in too. I'm all in with you. All
right, you and me, David. I'll line up and I'll put my chip in there with them. I have very little that I feel as, and I'm not certain about that. That's the thing I feel best about. The team that I believe in the most, that I felt like I saw it last year. They've invested within their program. They've retained the people that matter. They've got freaks on defense. And Klubnik, I think, can do it. And you saw those young receivers grow throughout the year last year. That's a team I really like.
You buying Arch as much as everybody?
Here's what I've said about him, and I always want to frame this very carefully. Because, David, I don't know if you know about this about college football fans. Sometimes they take things you say very personally.
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes they don't hear you when you talk to them. So
even if you pick against their team, you're an idiot and you're screwed regardless.
Texas fans, I need you to hear me. It's not that I doubt Arch Manning at all. I just saw, pardon my take, Coach O went on and he said Arch is the closest thing he's seen to Burrow. And I'm like, damn. All right, that gets my attention. The point I made earlier about Malachi, right, being a five-star and coming out with bona fides, look at the guy that was the quarterback at Texas the year before. Quinn Ewers came out. He was five-star everything. Went to Ohio State, was there for a minute, came back to Texas. Now, was he bad at Texas? Of course not. He was good. He got drafted. Third-day guy. He was never going to be a third-day guy. He's down in Miami, but he was supposed to be like the guy. Well, it never quite happened on the level of him becoming a Caleb or a Jaden, right? It just didn't happen. And so the level of buy-in I feel like I see with Arch right now is such that it's a lot's being assumed. And it might very well be well-founded. We might see it right out of the gate against Ohio State, and you go, that's why everyone thought he was the dude. All I'm saying is I want to see it. And I wonder this. I always also say I don't know what I don't know. I trust Sark, certainly more than me when it comes to knowing his team and his personnel. But I wonder if Arch had so much juice, why in that Ohio State game he didn't get more than a snap. I believe it was one snap where he came in for a run play that got a first down. I believe that's what it was. I could be mistaken. But there were games where Ewers would hit a spot where maybe he'd struggle for a possession or two. Maybe he'd have a quarter where not a lot's going right. Arizona State, they're up big, and then it became a game. And then he made a heck of a throw when push came to shove, Ewers did. My point is just I wonder why maybe we didn't see more of it, but I'm sure Sark knew what he was doing, and I'm sure that the Manning group is bought in because they've got the long view of the world. They're not in a hurry, man. And I respect and appreciate that about them. So this is a long-winded answer, but I just want to make sure I'm framing it. I'm not doubting Arch. I'm just saying before I buy in the way I'm buying in with Clemson, I just want to see it, and we get a chance to see it week one in Columbus. So we're going to get some feedback right off the bat. So does that make sense to either of you, like what I'm saying about it?
Very much
100%.
so.
All right. That's how I feel.
You and Davey matching all-in tattoos, by the way. Hashtag all in.
There you go.
All right, Brent.
All right, so one last fun thing, because you posted this on Twitter, and I just have to ask the both of you, how do you pronounce this word?
Well, all right. David, you're the host. I'm going to let you go.
Pecan. What are you talking about? It's easy. What's wrong with that?
This is very tricky. All right. Okay, so my grandma was from Miami, Oklahoma. It's spelled Miami, but it's Miami. Those that know. There's also apparently a town in Oklahoma that's spelled Duran, but it's Duran, not Duran. So anyway, my grandma's from Miami, Oklahoma. My great-granddaddy, they had pecan trees. My grandma called it pecan pie. So I asked, is it pronounced pecan or pecan? And in the way that people on the internet have very passionate feelings about stuff, you are either an idiot or you're exactly right if you say pecan. And then other people say it's definitely pecan. And then I had one person send me a response that said, my family has farmed pecans/pecans for 5 generations. And he said, I say it different in the same sentence. Whatever you say is fine. And I would land on whatever you say is fine. And then there was this one, which did not help me. They said it's pecan pie, but it's butter pecan ice cream, but it's pecan pie. And I'm like, what are we doing here? And so then people are like, oh, you don't throw your trash in the trash can, do you? Huh? It's a can.
I've heard that before, yeah.
Okay, well then let me ask you this. T-E-A-R. Is that tear or is it tear? Well, it depends. Are you crying or are you ripping something? Oh, so you mean something that's spelled one way can be pronounced entirely different. See? So don't hit me with the can-con argument. I think where I land is this. Whatever y'all say is fine. I'm just telling you the way my grandma said it. She was the finest woman that the good Lord ever let live. So if she said pecan pie, I say pecan pie. If you say pecan, brother, that's fine with me.
Yeah. So the answer is everybody's right. Everybody's right.
There you go.
Everybody's happy. You say it the way you want to say it, man.
I think so. I don't feel it. It's like Caribbean and Caribbean, right? I think there's just whatever lane you're comfortable in. But I do find myself doing the same thing as the farmer did. I feel like I say it different depending on the situation. I don't know why that is. That's why I asked the internet. So
only Scott Van Pelt can end that way. In that realm where we can talk about pecan and pecan and how you say it. But we appreciate your time so much, man. We know how daggum busy you are. Look forward to watching winners and bad beats get cranked back up here shortly.
I'm grateful to be on with you, man. And David, you and I have known each other a lot of years, man. You know how much I care about you and your family. Always thinking about y'all. Always praying for good things for everybody. And it's great to be with you, man. I hope we can do this again somewhere down the road. Our paths will cross again. All right.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, brother.